Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame and Cinnamon Sugar, and we are back for another recap review for Tyler Perry's Sistas. So the episode started out with Karen in the back talking to Aaron and finally revealing to him that she is pregnant. Well, of course, he wants to know if the child is his, but she is just dead set against believing that that is even a possibility. And he's just like, the time frame is very close, ma'am. What are we talking about? Like, I don't understand how you could be so certain. Like, are you just wanting the baby to not be mine so bad that you have convinced yourself that it's Zach's? So she was like, no, I just know. I just know it's his. Then this heifer gonna say, oh, I am I finally understand that I need to be single. I need to be by myself and I need some more time. I'm like, ma'am, you just took a break from this man. Like, I don't understand why he didn't say that. Cause I'm like, she just took a break from you. And you were like, all right, I'm gonna respect that. And then you took a break. Then she rolled up when she found out she was pregnant. And now she want a whole nother break. And it's like, girl, child, please, he dumb. He done for wanting to stick around. So after he has gotten dismissed, basically, in the same breath, you're going to tell this man, I don't want you, but in the same breath, you're going to say, but I want you to be there for me and to support me through my pregnancy. Girl, but you got a good one. You have a good one. And then like he basically was like, okay, I don't understand. She was like, well, I just wanted to tell you that I was pregnant so you could stop pursuing me. And he was like, I don't understand what you think this is. You do know that I love you. You do know that I'm here for you and that I've been here. So he's confused as to why this heifer talking about some, well, I just want you to be here for me. Child, I'm so sick and tired of her. I don't understand what these people are seeing in her because she is broken. She need to go somewhere and get therapy. She should have been single by herself and never even entertained him when he rolled up on her. He was wrong to even roll up on her when he had a whole marriage still hanging in the balance, even though he was planning on getting divorced. I was just like, boy, if you don't go somewhere and sit down, go somewhere and sit down. I'm going to forever say that because it wasn't no reason for them to even to get together. He should have presented the divorce decree. That's what you should have rolled up on her with. If you was going to say something, say, hey, how you doing? I have a divorce decree. Leave me alone until you have a divorce decree. I'm so sick and tired of people. Y'all, I don't understand. I don't understand why people make it their business to stay married to somebody long enough to where they can start drawing Social Security, and then the person that they are married to but no longer are with, and y'all both out here dating other people, they are gonna be able to get part of your Social Security, dummy. Like, I don't be understanding. Y'all, why don't y'all know this by now? And these people be older than me. I be like, why don't y'all know this? Anyway, y'all, I'm sorry. This stuff like that is just stupid to me. You really have papers on somebody else, and you made it to 10 years of still having papers on this person, and you ain't gonna be able to have a say. You're gonna be looking stupid because you let it go on that long instead of getting a divorce early on when y'all been not being together no more and the relationship been went sour. But who am I? So anyway, he gonna stupidly stay by her side and stick beside her, even though she talking about she want to be single and ain't gonna be with nobody, but just support me, child, please. Anyway, moving right on along. So then we see Preston at Karen's shop. You know what I'm saying? Because all of this stuff is going on at the same time. While she in the back talking to Aaron, her conversation is winding down with him. She's going to come out from the back from talking to him and see him off because Preston is outside. Preston is in that waiting area, waiting on this heifer that he been dating to get her hair done. And so Pam out here trying to grill him and Slick trying to get with him. And he ain't trying to hear nothing she's talking about. And she getting tea or whatever, and is like, oh, so you really were dating Danny like that? Oh, okay, cool. And she thought she was gonna be able to get in on the action because he out here paying for hairdos and things and whatever else, and so she really thinks she finna get a piece. So she was like, oh, you made me think I was gonna be able to get with a white boy because he kept on blocking her, and so she got fed up. So she mad, she mad. And it is what it is. But the heifer who keep coming to the shop, she almost done up under the hair dryer, and so she went to retrieve her. And it is what it is. And so before Karen went to go retrieve this heifer, she kept talking about he messing with the money. And I'm like, is she saying that because that woman is a client there who pays, or he pays, or somebody is paying to get her hair done, because she kept saying it. And even Karen was like, Pam, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm finna go over here and get this heifer from under this dryer. So then he ended up talking one-on-one to Karen and told her that, even though she came out of the back off rip and was like, look, I did not call Danny. I told you I wasn't gonna call her. He was like, well, I actually was hoping that you would. And so she was like, I knew it. I knew that's why you kept coming back here. And so he was like, look, I know I was wrong, but it is what it is. I want to see, if she was gonna be able to, to see where her head was at. And it's like, sir, you knew you was wrong for that. Anyway, moving right along, we'll get into that a little bit later on. So then we see Andy at work. This heifer got her feet kicked up on the desk doing the most. So then Fatima come in and hands her some files. And so she's like, oh, that's a cute purse. And rolled up on the purse. And as soon as I saw the purse, I'm like, oh, let me guess. This is one of the gifts that Gary gave this dumb heifer that she hasn't returned. And she over here using stuff. Yeah, it is. Some $5,000 little bitty clutch looking purse or whatever. Child, whatever. And she's like, oh, did this come from Robin? And so she was like, no. So she was like, it came from Gary. Yeah, it's sad that people can already guess where it came from. Because she was like, girl, I ain't spent my money on that. Yeah, we already know who it came from. So she was like, yeah. And then, like, before she could say what she was going to say next, she was like, oh, look, and this is something that he got me also. Done threw the phone in her face, showing the car. And it's a Rolls Royce. That showed the car and was like, and it's in my name. And she was like, good. Now we can sell all of this stuff and you can get some good money. I know a man. I know a guy who you can get a good deal. All this stuff. So she was like, you sound just like Karen. And Fatima was like, she was like, yeah. Girl, who wants to hear that? Nobody wants to hear you say that. Well, you know they ain't here for each other. Like, girl. So anyway, she was like, yeah, anyway. And so they talking, and she let her know that, speaking of Karen called Zach's phone and she answered it, but little did she know she had Zach's phone. This heifer is convinced that she actually knew that she had his phone. And she was like, no, seriously, I did not have his phone. Like, I didn't know I had his phone. We had the same phone and same case and all this stuff, and I grabbed his phone by accident. And so she's confused. So she was like, girl, ain't no way. I know you had to have had his phone. You swiped it on purpose, because he would always have his phone up under a pillow, hidden, and everywhere. It's always on him. Like, ain't no way. So she was like, girl, no. He just gave me the password. So she looking like, huh? Oh, that does not sound like the Zach that I know. And so she was like, yeah, that ain't how it roll over here. And so she was like, did you give him your password? She was like, no, I gave him a fake one. She was like, yeah, he ain't ready for that yet. So they had that little kick he moment on that. And then let's move right on along. So Zach, ended up sending over his information to Gary the last episode rather. And so him and old boy, I think his name is Jacob, they came over to the house. So they over here admiring the house. Oh, okay, it's cool. So he was like, I wanted to give you a formal introduction. This is Jacob. He's a head fund person and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's really, really good with this, and he'll be able to talk to you more about the stock and all that stuff that you was putting your money on. So he left him, to be able to get to know him. And so they talking. And so, of course, he wants to know, what he need to do. Do he need to pull his money out? Like, is the stock looking like it's doing well? What's going on? So he was like, well, I mean, it looks like there's going to be a merger, which means that there would be more money. But I suggest you take some of the money out. And it's like, that's smart to be on the safe side. Anything can happen. But it's a whole lot of shares right now. So he over here about to hit the floor because he had already looked. And I'm guessing by his reaction, the stocks went up. From whatever time he saw it that morning to later on in the morning, it went up even more. So he over here about to have a heart attack because it's like a lot of money out here. And so he talking to him. And of course, he was like, look, you ain't got to go with us. But, I feel like, whoever you decide to go with, make sure you're making the right decision. Because he was like, yeah, I'm not going to make a decision on who I'm going to go with yet to help me, with all of this money. And so he also was like, who do you bank with? And he was like, yeah, I mean, I feel like I shouldn't answer that, but I'm going to answer it anyway. And he said, Brookhaven. And so he was like, yeah, you really shouldn't bank with chain banks like that or whatever. And so he was trying to help him to understand that when it comes to stuff like that, that you should go to one of those banks where you have to pay to play. And so he was like, oh, okay. And he was like, well, they wouldn't allow me to open up something like that back in the day. And so he was like, there's a reason for it. And, again, because you have to pay to play. So it is what it is. He got the money now, so he's going to have to figure out if he want to put his money into that or not. So whether Zach is seeing it or not, this man didn't offer to help paint, well, not paint, he didn't offer to hang up paintings and all these other things. So he's like, really, you would do that? Zach is crazy. He over here talking about which one of your parents white, because I know half you white. I see the curls, I see this and I see that. So eventually he reluctantly said his mama white. He was like, I know it. I knew your mama was white. And he was setting it off. He was like, yeah, you're too nice. You're too nice. I don't trust you. I already know. I can't trust you. But he did let him, come in there. And later on, we found out he was actually helping him hang up sheetrock and all this other stuff. He putting up sheetrock. You're doing the most to try to get this brokerage deal situation, get him as a client or whatever. You're doing the most. Which I don't blame you, because he had a whole lot of money. So meanwhile, at the airport, Danny is about to leave for today, and El Fuego with his fine behind rolled up. And so he was like, look, I'm just passing through. She was like, oh, okay, well, go ahead and pass through. And so he was about to just leave, and then he turned around. He was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. Like, you did me the same way we were in college. And so she was like, well, that means you should be used to it by now. And he was like, you know what? It's crazy. So old boy Logan, the undercover whatever that's helping with the stings or whatever, he was in the background. He was like, yeah, she just be warding off everybody. Like, she ain't here for nobody. He was like, yeah, she treat everybody like this. So then he ended up rolling up and was like, yeah, I see you leave for the day. Let me go ahead and take you out. And so she was like, I did tell you that I told you. Remember, I told you that we will be able to do this whenever it was going to be on my terms. I would let you know when I'm ready. And so he was like, I understand that, but like, we can go get a drink or whatever. So she was just like, I don't know about all that. No, not here for it. I have somewhere to be. And so he over here getting let down, and he in his feelings, but at the same time, he like, look, I'm trying to do what I need to do so I can get to know you. And if I go and do all these things and get to know you, then you'll let me in so I can actually, really take you out. And so she looking like, oh, okay, whatever. Child, Preston ended up calling her while that situation was happening. And he was like, hey, how you doing? I just want to let you know that I wanted to, see you. Are you available? So she was like, oh no, I'm going on a date. I got to leave work. I'm leaving work and I'm going on a date. And so he was, kind of shocked or whatever. So she was like, I mean, you went on a date. I don't understand. So he was like, yeah, that's fair. I get it. It is what it is. But I would like to talk to you. Is there any kind of way I can meet up with you before you go on your date? So she was like, yeah, I mean, I'm heading to the house or whatever. It is what it is. So they had their little conversation, and they're going to talk later on. So then we see Karen call her. And it was crazy how that happened. And so she was like, well, I just want to let you know, I didn't tell him nothing because I figured he wanted me to call you, but I didn't call. And so she was like, I appreciate that, because she tried her last time, or at least that's the way she felt. I felt like she was being a friend, but who am I? Because you could tell that they like each other. So it's like, why would you get offended by that? I understand. It's like, I kind of understand, but at the same time, again, if you see that something is real, out of all of y'all's friendships, that's the only one that seemed like it's actually going somewhere. So it's like, she shouldn't have seen any malice in that, but whatever. So anyway, she thanked her for not, blowing up her spot and calling her and telling her about that. But she was like, I hope you'll be able to come tonight. So she was like, I mean, I guess I'll roll up. I guess, of course, she wanted to know what it was about. And she was like, I'll tell you when you get there. That's all you need to know. And so then she calling Andy and told Andy, I need for you to invite Fatima, because Fatima is a part of it too. And so she looking like, what? She was like, just promise me that you're going to invite her, because the last time you didn't invite her to the function and I wanted her to come, even though, girl, bye. But she was like, just promise me. And so she was like, I guess. So then Andy ended up getting Sabrina and Danny on the phone and had them on three-way and they're talking. And so she was like, yeah. So y'all coming, oh, okay. But this the thing. She want me to invite Fatima. And so they trying to figure out what is the connection to what you're talking about. And so now, even though Danny didn't want to go, something is suspicious because for her to just insist that she need to be there, she like, oh no, I'm gonna have me some popcorn because this is gonna be good. This is getting good, honey. I need to be there. So now she has motivation to go because you know she likes drama. So Andy at work going over stuff, and it's the end of the day. And Fatima came in the office and was like, a situation got canceled or somebody backed up or whatever, and so a certain situation can't happen. And so she was like, was there anything else you needed me to do before I leave out? And so she was like, no. And so Fatima was about to roll out. She was like, actually, are you busy later? So she was like, no, what's up? So she was like, nothing. So she was like, no, I know you. What's going on? She was like, well, I might need you later on. Can you like carve out, like save an hour for me? Just in case. She was like, okay, cool. You good? And so she was like, are you sure everything's okay? She was like, yeah. So meanwhile, Maurice then came home from work and Calvin on the couch sulking. And I'm like, I'm so sick of you and Sabrina. I don't understand why we're trying to make fetch happen. I'm not understanding that. But who am I? So anyway, he came in and so he instantly was like, well, you already know what's going on. Why are you trying to act like you don't know what's going on? So Maurice genuinely did not know what was going on. Usually he does know the tea. He ain't know this time because Sabrina didn't tell him. And she was trying to tell him, but he was telling he didn't want to hear it and all this other stuff. It is what it is. So he kind of was trying to get him to tell him. And he stupidly was about to go into detail. Was like, well, yeah, just tell me your side of it. He was like, yeah, she would tell you her side. So he started telling him stuff. He was like, wait a minute, she didn't tell you what was going on. And he was like, well, I mean, no, she didn't, but you already told me enough, so you might as well just tell me what was going on. So then he told him what happened. And so he was like, oh, so did you do a death drop like you did the first time? Do y'all know I hollered? I cannot. Like, it's in the middle of the night, y'all. I'm like, oh, Lord, I hope I ain't wake my neighbors up. Like, I really screamed because it's like, why would you say that? Even though it was true. He was like, so did you do a death drop? I was like, no, not a death drop. He read him. I'd be here for it though. Because please go somewhere and sit down. But yeah. But, he explained the situation. It is what it is. And so they had that back and forth banter. It was hilarious. Maurice be killing me. So anyway, Dana then got to the house. And, she beat old boy to the house. When they were on the phone, he was like, okay, well, when I come, I'll just wait. I won't get the landlord to let me in. I won't do all these things. And so she was like, oh, okay, you get a point for that. And, all these things. I'm like, child, you doing the least. So anyway, he come in and he sit down and he was like, you look nice. And so she was like, okay, I just had a long day at work. And yeah, what do you want? And it's like, I hate people like her who, it's like you're trying to play nice, but it's like it's like you're putting up a front because it's like you're trying to be nice, like you're trying to hold back this anger that you want to unleash or whatever it is. And I'm just like, you are holding this frustration in. You have created frustration for no reason. Like nothing is going on. Anyway, I get there. So anyway, he's expressing how he feels, and he was like, I don't like the woman that I've been dating. And I haven't been liking that situation. When I'm with her, I only can think of you. And so she was like, yeah, I'm sure I know. I already know this. And what she was referring to was that he wasn't going to like being out on a date with this woman. And I'm like, girl, bye. So anyway, like he's expressing to her that he loves her, wants to be with her. And he doesn't understand why it's so easy being with that woman. Why can't it be that easy with her? Because he really, really wants to be with her. And he tried to talk to Karen earlier and told her that he doesn't know what it is outside the fact that it's like he really likes her, but it's like he bores her. And that's not what he wants it to be. And it just is what it is. And so she was just sitting there casually like, well, I mean, it is what it is. And, I have a date I got to go on. And child, I can't. Like, she really was trying to play him like, well, you went on your date, so, you need to allow me to go on mine. I'm going on mine. You went on yours. And I'm just like, girl, like, she is just, he legit said to her, can you just take my hand and show me what I need to do so that we can be together? Like, I want to do whatever it is I need to do so that things go smoothly for us so that we can be together. Like, I just want to know what I need to do so that you can feel the way that I feel. And so she took his hand and was like, you have to grow up at some point in time. I have a full-time job and I am a black woman with the weight of the world on my shoulders. And you expect me to take on another task of teaching you what to do? And he was just like, okay, I see what it is now. And I'm just like, I hope you see that you need to quit wasting your time, because at this point, you're going to have to go through everything and then some in order for her to finally say, oh no, he's an amazing man. I didn't put him through all of this. Hopefully he doesn't turn bitter. Hopefully he does not turn into a bitter person for the next woman if it ends up being a situation like that. But she just ain't here for him. Like, it's like she wants to push him away. She wants trash people in her life. She got 3 people right now trying to roll up on her actively right now. Only one of which that we know is really, really good for her. Who has been doing right by her and will do right by her, who lives for her. And so it just is what it is. She basically trying to make it seem like she's just in a hurry and she going on this date, which we know there's no date. She's just going to go link up with the girls and see what Karen talking about. And I'm just like, girl, you get on my nerves. People wish they had somebody that was out here who is willing to ask a question, who is willing to communicate. He has had a few missteps and he has corrected that. He's corrected all that stuff. And I'm like, dang, why can't people learn as they go? It is what it is. But you sitting up here and counsel the man out, child. People like her, I just can't. But then we'll sit up there and be like, I can't find a good man. There are no good men out here. Girl, bye. So anyway, Fatima then got to Zach's house, or their house, or whatever you want to say it is. And, she called for him because she don't see him. And he was like, all right, I'm up here or whatever. And so he comes downstairs with the dude, Jacob. And like I told y'all earlier, he ended up helping him to put up sheetrock. And so he introduced him to her. And eventually, because she's trying to figure out, how they met. And he telling her that he done went to Harvard. And so she's, she asking the questions. She asking what she need to ask. And I'm glad she did. Because I'm like, please, Fatima, ask what you need to ask so he could tell you some things. Ended up saying that the reason why he even met him was because he met Gary. And she was like, Gary. Ended up asking old boy, what was Gary's last name? Of course, Borders. We all tied in our spirit. Atlanta is actually very small, even though everybody named mama want to run down there. And I'm like, ain't no room, and the traffic is terrible. What is the purpose? What is the reason? There are people who I've gone to school with who live there, and unless you are making bank, like, you're not going to be able to live in an amazing area where you don't have to worry as much about your vehicles and things being broken into. Like, you got to be making, like, bare minimum, like, $6,000, 3 times the rent, and that would be like $6,000 a month. So if you ain't making bank, like, you're not going to be able to go to a really decent area in Atlanta to live. Yeah. Anyway, I had to get that on my check. I just cannot with the traffic. I don't understand. The traffic is ridiculous. The traffic has always been ridiculous. I hate driving through there. Let me calm down because it's getting on my nerve. So anyway, she found out it was Gary. Ain't nobody got time. And I'm just wondering how she's going to be able to, I guess she waiting on him to leave so that they can have a conversation. But they didn't come back up anymore in this episode. But hopefully she'll be like, no, don't deal with this dude, whatever, because he owns some BS. But he is his own man. He probably going to be like, okay, well, I'm just dealing with him from a business perspective, whatever. I don't know how the conversation is going to go, but we didn't see them no more for the rest of this episode. So we end up seeing Karen making sure that she, meaning Andy, is going to invite Fatima. And she was like, okay, I will. So I guess she's going to invite her. But she just don't know that she already know that she's pregnant. So I'm like, girl, you doing the most. So anyway, after she done got off the phone, Gary calling and talking about, did you like my surprise and all this other stuff? Because I know you. I know what you like. And I'm just like, I cannot. you know, when they were in the car and driving and the fake police officers pulled her over and like she all over here getting all giddy and smiling and like yeah, I didn't like that. Like girl, bye. So he was like, so can we meet up? Can I come over? And so she was like, no. Like she even answered the phone aggressively. And it's like, how you gonna act like you so mad at him, but you over here flaunting the bags and the designer clothes and all this stuff that he done bought you and then drove around in the car that he done bought you, whether it's in your name or not. It's like, girl, you can be bought, apparently. Like, I'm so sick and tired of you. It's like, I don't want him, but let me just take all this stuff. No, reject all of that. Reject all of it and be done. But anyway, so she was like, no, you can't come over. He was like, I insist, I think I should come over. And I'm like, trying to figure out what she gonna walk into because they showed that on the preview last time. Man, she done walked into her place and there's no furniture. And I'm tired of my spirit because I'm like, what is we doing? And then like, I'm just like, apparently he done bought it and she gonna have her own place to stay somewhere else. I don't know, whatever, we'll see because that hasn't happened yet. But anyway, y'all, I'm so sick and tired of this foolishness. I hate everybody on here except for Tima and Zach at this point. I'm so sick and tired of everybody. Anyway, thank y'all for tuning in. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. Give this video a thumbs up and let's get down in the comment section and discuss this foolishness that has popped off this week.